So Blue Marine is a marine conservation charity dedicated to restoring the oceans to health through creating marine reserves, tackling overfishing, restoring habitats, and working with communities to develop models of sustainable fishing. And the ocean and the life that lives in it play a huge role in combating climate change, and the need for ocean protection and restoration has never been more urgent. Our brilliant donors must share this sense of urgency because we've tripled in size in the last 5 years. And with the situation becoming ever more critical, we'll do everything in our power to achieve our mission, which is to see 30% of the world's ocean under effective protection by 2030, and the other 70% managed in a responsible way. Blue Marine's success has come from being bold and from being agile. We run a very lean operation with 85 to 90 pence in every pound going towards our charitable activities. And maintaining that lean structure is vital in keeping our agility and our ability to react quickly to emerging opportunities as we grow larger. When I joined back in 2018, we had around 15 members of staff, and we were tracking expenditure on around 20 projects. We had an in-house finance team of 1. And with that scale of operations at the time, I was operating comfortably using Xero as our accounting software. I developed a flow of management information using Microsoft Excel as my reporting tool. And my colleagues were delighted to have lots of new insights, but the system did have its limitations even back then. So Xero could handle transactional level dimensions to track income and expenditure against projects and funders, but it couldn't handle our requirement to have custom budget lines for every combination of funder and project. And this was something that was hugely important to our project managers and our fundraising teams, because it made the budgets very relevant to their work, and it meant that they could engage with the numbers. By adding this information to transactions at the reporting stage, rather than at the data entry stage, it meant that critical information was being assigned to transactions outside of the accounting system. And that meant that every report had to be manually created or updated before it could be shared. This worked really well for a few years, but by the end of 2021, the number of projects and funders being tracked and reported on from this Excel-based reporting system had reached an unworkable level. We'd hired an assistant accountant, but we now had close to 40 separate project budgets to report on, and the process of producing those budget files was taking the 2 of us almost 2 weeks every month. The Excel files themselves were becoming increasingly complicated, and they were very customized to each project and became quite sort of riddled with errors in the way that Excel files do over the years. We had to drop some of the budgets down to only quarterly reporting to manage the workload, which obviously isn't ideal for an organisation that moves as quickly as Blue Marine. And it would take me almost a week to pull together and check the data for the forecast file for senior management and the board. So we knew that the flow of that management information was starting to stall, and we knew that it was time to invest in ourselves and get ahead of the growth to ensure that Blue Marine had a finance and reporting system that was fit for the medium-sized organisation that we were fast becoming. The easy solution was to hire more people into the finance team to manage that workload, but this would have pulled us away from the lean and efficient operation that we knew was so important for us to maintain Blue Marine's agility. So instead, we chose to focus on automation and integration of our systems. So ultimately, the goal of our project was to implement a system that could be scaled with Blue Marine's continuing growth, maintaining that all-important agility far into the future. We knew we needed a finance system that provided a robust means of tracking our 3 vital dimensions, the project, the funder, and the budget lines, at the point of transactional data entry. We needed a system that provided automated integration with other systems, such as Salesforce, our CRM software, and Pleo, our expense management system, to make sure that it removed any inconsistencies between the teams or inefficient duplication of work. And we knew the system needed to have a systemized approval process to reduce the time spent by the entire organization on finance administration. We also knew that we needed a reporting system that provided standardized budget reporting that delivered accurate and relevant information to every project manager, that was updated automatically from the accounting system rather than being updated manually by the finance team. The reporting system needed to provide the ability for project managers to access the reports whenever required, with as close to real-time data as possible. And this a system that provided the ability for us to develop it further in-house, enabling us to easily scale the system up and develop new reports without additional ongoing costs. So after gathering recommendations from our accounting partner and others in the industry, we did a feasibility study across several systems and suppliers. We chose Microsoft Dynamics Business Central as our accounting system, with City Dynamics as our implementation partner. City Dynamics were genuinely really interested in our mission, and they were always very happy to come to our offices for in-person meetings, which we really valued. And the face-to-face time and the level of detail covered in the solutions design and implementation processes really helped to build a close working relationship. We signed as a new customer just before Christmas 2021, and we were able to go live on Dynamics at the start of our new financial year on the 1st of April 2022. So we didn't have to do any dual running of systems. And City Dynamics were happy to work with our fairly ambitious time frame on that, and really helped us to prioritize areas where we needed to finish by the 1st of April in order to go live, and other areas which could be continuously developed over the following months. We rolled out the project budget reporting pack in Power BI to the entire organization in July 2022. And we now have an evolving suite of reports for our internal stakeholders, from the fundraising team to an automated dashboard providing the highest level of information for the Board of Trustees. So 2 years ago, it would take 2 people 2 weeks of every month to prepare all the reporting. So we're now working on a whole new level of operational efficiency. Our reports are live and they are produced automatically for us by the system, so the finance team can focus wholly on work that adds value. Apart from the time spent ensuring the accuracy of data in the system, which is vital to the integrity of our accounts, we now spend most of our time as an outward-facing support team to the rest of the organisation, working directly with the fundraising and the project teams to help their decision-making, making sure they're armed with live and relevant information. So from a cost perspective alone, the time saved each month means the direct cost of the implementation, which was just under £50,000, has already been paid back in just 1 year. 2 years ago, project managers would get an email around mid-month with a budget report for the previous month, and that meant that some transactions were almost 6 weeks old by the time the project managers received their budget update. Now we operate as close to a continuous accounting model as is possible or feasible for an organisation of our size. The majority of the transactional data is in our reports within a week of the transaction taking place, and the project managers can access their reports at any time which suits them in their decision-making process. This really helps to facilitate our agile and empowered way of working, and helps us to leap on really time-sensitive opportunities to achieve conservation impact quickly, where perhaps larger organisations or those where the project managers are not confident in the accuracy or the timeliness of their budget information might not have been able to react in time. We see the benefits of this reactive way of working across all our activities on a daily basis, but a particularly impactful example that is strong in my mind occurred when one of the project managers received a phone call to report that a recreational diver had discovered the egg case of a flapper skate off the northwest coast of Scotland. The flapper skate is one of the largest skate species in the world, reaches more than 2.5 meters long, and it's sadly critically endangered. So that means it's facing an extremely high risk of extinction in the wild. The discovery of an egg-laying site of a flapper skate would be of huge importance to the species, partly because they're so slow to reproduce. The egg case can take almost 18 months to hatch, and that makes them very vulnerable to being captured or damaged from bottom-towed fishing gear, particularly. A single pass from a trawler or a dredger would completely obliterate the egg-laying site, and the start of the trawling season, when we received that phone call, was only weeks away. Without evidence, there was no hope of protecting the site. But thankfully, our project managers are excellent at reacting to opportunities, and part of that confidence comes from knowing how much money they have access to. Our budget reports now provide project managers with timely and accurate information so that at any given time, they know how much money they have left from a funder, when that money needs to be spent by, and what that money is restricted to be spent on. This meant our project manager knew she could afford to send a team of divers to explore the egg-laying site and capture really valuable footage and measurements of the egg cases, which meant she could make an instant decision on behalf of Bloom Marine. Less than a week after the original phone call, we had visual proof of more than 100 of these rare egg cases at the site, and this proof was really important in our success in convincing Marine Scotland to ban trawling and dredging in the area, allowing more than 100 critically endangered flapper skate egg cases to hatch and protecting this really important site for generations of flapper skate to come. So if you hear news of a giant 2.5 metre long skate found off the coast of the UK making a comeback from being critically endangered, there's a good chance that the Microsoft Dynamics and Power BI reporting system that we have played an important part in enabling that recovery.